Welcome to today's video. We are back in the storage yard with my Evo 6.5 Tme RS, and I'm trying to go over a bunch of things with the car to confirm what the previous owner has told me. I was explaining a few videos back that the actual old owner of this car, before John bought it, actually reached out to me and got in contact with me and started giving me a bunch of information about the car. And he went ahead and confirmed that this is not the original engine that came with this TME Evo. It is actually initially from an Evo 5, he told me. Now, this is where things kind of get interesting, because he said that he also did a compression test on the car when he had it, and it had the same numbers that I did, but he didn't know why it had such high compression. So I started talking to some people that know a bunch about Evos, and they said to have a look if you can tell if it has an aftermarket head gasket. If it has a Cosworth head gasket, that can actually sometimes increase the compression on the compression test, as well as double check what engine block you have. So I've gone down there and you can see the engine kind of number plate there. It's hard to see. Let me see if I can get the camera in there. But you can see the numbers on there. And they definitely do say 4G63. It's very hard to see with the camera. I got a bit of oil on there and kind of cleaned it up to really get a good look at it. And I'm going to triple check that this is definitely not the NA block. I'm pretty confident it's not, because it does look like that this does have an aftermarket metal head gasket on it. It's hard to see, but there are certain places around the head and the block here where you can kind of see the edge of it. And it does look like an aftermarket one, just like this one here, the metal one here that's on the exhaust one. So that's probably why we have that little bit more of a higher compression than what the service manual and the book says. So that leads me to believe that we have a really good base for our engine and what we want to do with it. Now, my goal is 100% that when this is fully restored and ready, that we're going to be making at least 400 horsepower at all four wheels. And from what I understand, that is very doable with pretty much stock blocks, from what I understand. But I am going to be going and doing some pretty crazy stuff with the engine, which I actually want to talk to you guys about today. Because I'm going to be completely rebuilding the body and getting everything fixed on the car, I think it would be kind of a waste to put a stock internal engine back into this. So my plans are to go fully forged, eliminate things like the counter shaft, the counterbalance shaft or something like that. I believe that's in there. I've been doing a bunch of research on these motors, and it seems like that's a common delete, and other things like that, just to try and make it reliable. I want to be able to up the boost a fair bit, especially once I start time attacking this thing. But like I said, my main goal is, once this thing is completely back together, is for it to be making at least 400 horsepower at all four wheels. Another interesting thing that the previous owner confirmed for me is that the front diff is a Cusco LSD, and the rear, they kind of modified the OEM one by putting some more plates or shims or something like that in there, from what he was telling me in Japanese, which I believe is also a very common mod as well for these Evos, is that people take those diffs out and muck around with those plates and stuff like that. I think actually Adam did a video where they did something like that in the rear end for his diff. So I'm pretty excited that this thing kind of seems to have a lot of the drivetrain kind of mods that I would have done anyways. But obviously we're going to be going through and checking everything that's been done and cleaning everything, replacing any worn parts and stuff like that. This is, once again, I want to just stress, this is not going to be a quick project. This is a long-term project. My goal is to have this car finished and driving on the street. This is going to be a street registered car by the end of next year. 2021 is my goal. Now, obviously, if we get it done in the middle of next year, that's going to be even better. But, you know, relying on workshops and stuff for the bodywork and stuff like that, and, you know, parts and stuff coming from Mitsubishi, who knows if there's any delays there and whatnot. There's definitely potentially, you know, I just think it's a good goal to set everything at the end of 2021. So I think that's going to be awesome. Now, a bunch of people have asked about checking the roof and things like that for rust spots. I tried doing a bit of research on that, and I couldn't really find any information that specifically explained whereabouts on the roof that the rust occurs. And I can't exactly get the lining out of this very easily. I have to completely remove the roll cage. So I think before I'm able to pull the roof lining out to check everything in there, I need to have this car in my new workshop when I get it, and so that, you know, I can start just pulling everything off the car, which is 100% my goal. Pretty much the way that this thing is going to work is when I get my shop, which we're actually going to be looking at some spaces this week, hopefully, and I get this car there, I'm going to strip the entire thing, take as much video and pictures and everything of everything, label and bag and tag everything, because this is the first time I've worked on this chassis and I want to make sure I know how to put it all back together. So anyways, once we get everything apart, then we know exactly what we're working with the body. I'm going to get a couple friends that own some body shops and stuff like that here in Japan, get them to come over, have a look at it, see if they're willing to take on the job, because that's the other thing as well, is like, man, it is really hot in this car. Is I need to find a shop that I know does really good work, and two, I know that they can do the job and get it done in a timely manner. You know, this is not something where I want it done quickly and rushed and corners cut. I want this done properly, okay? Like, that is something I am stressing about. This is not a car that I am trying to just fix up and then sell and make a profit. This is a car I want to keep for my lifetime and pass on to, you know, my future generation and stuff like that. This is a car that I'm going to race in and have fun with time attack, planning to do some cool time attack challenges with Oka-chan in it and his Impreza that he's going to be bringing back, which he's had in storage for the longest time after a pretty gnarly crash. So he's planning to fix that and everything. It's all going to line up with when I'm rebuilding this and everything. So it's going to be some really cool content coming from both of us at that same time. So keep an eye out for that, and we're going to have some pretty cool Impreza verse Evo content coming for time attack stuff. Obviously there's going to be driver mod things there as well, because he's obviously a much better driver than me, so in those circumstances we will switch seats and stuff too, which I think will be very, very interesting. Anyways, that aside, that's kind of my game plan with this whole thing, and a lot of people have been asking questions and kind of like messaging me and DMing me, so I really wanted to make this video to follow up and also share a bit more information with you that I got from the previous owner. So since the last time I was here, it seems like a bunch of things have changed in this space. The guys have really cleaned stuff up. In fact, that Lorel is there when it used to be all the way in the forest, as well as the 4-door Skyline is now next to my Evo. I don't even know how these guys managed to drag this thing here. Kind of insane. This RB20 really does not look like it's savable at all. We might be able to use like some parts internally on it because they're like not corroded because of the oil in there. Oh, the cap came off. Yeah, it looks really clean in there, surprisingly. It looks pretty healthy inside, but the outside, unfortunately, is corroded everywhere. So I don't know if you'd be able to save much on this motor. It's been outside for a very long time. I'd say it's like all screwed. You might be able to acid, like, strip the whole thing, acid bath it, and then rebuild it and bring it back to life that way, but yeah. Anyways, hopefully something happens with this thing soon. Oh yeah, and while the guys were cleaning up, I guess they found some Evo lights. This one's kind of split though. I don't know if it's rebuildable, and there's this one here, and then this corner light, which also has some water in it. Actually, I have a really cool idea for this when I order and get new front lights and stuff. I actually want to turn this into a little fish tank to put in my office at the shop when we get it. And I'm going to put a little Siamese fighting fish in it. I think it'll be super cool, just a memory of like how this car and how we got it and everything like that. So let me know if you guys think that's a pretty cool idea. But yeah, so overall, we found out a bit of information from the previous owner. We know that this is not the original TME engine that came in the car. And we know that it's probably, I mean, definitely seems like it's had some work done in the end. I am suspecting stock internals with an aftermarket head gasket that might be a bit thinner, that's giving it a little bit higher compression with the compression test. So that aside, I think we've really done well with this car, and we have a lot of work ahead of us. And one thing I really wanted to reach out to you guys about is if any of you guys have these fenders anywhere in the world, if you have a spare set, you're willing to sell them to me. I've been having a bit of trouble finding these. Now, I know I can get them from Mitsubishi, but I thought it would be really, really cool if any of you guys have any of the spare parts that I am missing on this car, as well as like tail lights and stuff like that. Just little things that isn't too expensive to ship internationally. I thought it would be really cool if I could buy some parts of you guys so that you guys all have had a part in helping me rebuild this car. So if any of you guys do have any parts, including headlights, indicators, any little things like that to replace on this car, if you have those parts and they're in good condition, please DM me on Instagram or send me an email through the merch store, sammit.net. And let's talk about price, get them shipped over. I think that'll be really, really cool. Just quickly, guys, I want to remind you that this would not be possible if it wasn't for John from Rising Sun Exports. I've got his email down in the description. So if you're a serious buyer and you want to export a car out of Japan, please get in contact with him. He's probably one of the most honest guys that I know in the industry. He's upfront. He makes sure that the customer knows exactly what they're getting. So definitely get in contact with him if that is what you're after. One other quick thing to mention as well is that I do have a really cool merch drop coming themed around the Evo, and it should be, if everything goes well, mid-September. We should be seeing that drop with a bunch of other merch as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that. It's going to be super sick. Time to head home, but man, my S15 is really starting to look like a drift beater. All that front damage from the first time drifting at Scudamore Circuit. This from Ebisu Circuit this weekend. Nice little damage there to the side skirt. Luckily, everything's all repairable, so it's not a big deal. And then there was a random storm pouring down and I couldn't see anything when I was trying to park, and I kind of backed into something and kind of damaged my rear bar a little bit here, but you know, it's all good. Yeah, this is where it pushed in here and just kind of forced everything up, so not a big deal. Once again, everything's repairable and super simple. And I think this damage here actually happened at Ebisu Circuit when I slid off too, just on this side, like it cracked the side of the skirt. Not a big deal. Everything is probably going to end up getting even more damaged, especially with the 2 competitions I have planned next month. Literally, like week after week, I've got some pretty big competitions that we're going to be driving this car in. So hopefully things go well. And then once the comps are done, I'm not sure. I'm kind of torn on whether or not to get everything fixed before next year, just because there's another huge comp in November. So it would be like 2 months after the ones in September that I'm about to do. So I might just keep the car in this condition because the type of comp that it is, and if I podium in it, it means something very, very big for next year. And if that goes through, it's going to be life-changing. So I'm probably going to be driving all out and crazy, probably touching bumpers. And if that's the case, I obviously don't want to have everything fixed up only to just destroy it again within like, you know, 3-4 weeks time. So that's my thought process on it anyways. So a lot of you guys have been messaging me asking about the BMX. I still have it. I still ride it a fair bit, like every week, but where I live, there is a BMX park that's kind of close. It's just hard to get to, and I have so many other things going on right now. But I figured I'd show you guys where I'm at. Just a couple 180s on the little hill here. That's my driveway, and hopefully that satisfies you guys to let you know that no, I haven't forgotten about this, and yes, I am still riding. Now, it may not seem like much, but I was never previously able to do 2 consecutive 90s like that, which is really good because when I start going back to the skate park and, you know, we're looking at like half pipe, not half pipes, but, you know, just the little ramps and stuff, I'll be able to jump up onto them, do a 90. When I get pegs on the bike, I'll be able to land on the pegs, go back down. I don't know the official name of what it's called, but yeah, so I'll be able to land up on the side of that and then go again a 90 back down. So pretty pumped to try it out, but I'm still waiting for like helmet, like knee pads and all that kind of stuff, as well as shin guards. I'm wrecked. I may have actually done that like 3 or 4 or 5 times before I used the clip. But anyways, I'm going to keep going at it. guys don't mind looking at my pitiful BMX content, I've literally started from zero and am at where I'm at now. No previous BMX experience or riding on a BMX bike whatsoever. So I'm literally learning from scratch. I've been watching a lot of like super old, like how to get started kind of like BMX videos, and I really do love it. If any of you guys do have experience, when you give me tips and pointers in the comment section, it does help out a lot. But I'm really gonna try and like, today was my first time kind of using the driveway hill, and while it could be a little bit steeper, it's actually really like, I don't know, like it's easy for me to do stuff on there, and I think it's a good excuse, not really an excuse, it's a good thing for me to push myself to go, hey, every day in the afternoon, if I just spend 30 minutes, maybe 15 even, just doing a few practice like that, I think it's gonna help me a lot. So anyways guys, I'm interested in some of those slow-mos will really like give you an idea of my body movements and stuff, and I can see that I'm being very, very stiff on the bike. So that's something I need to try to relax and get a bit looser and stuff like that. But yeah, any other advice and things like that you want to give me, please give them to me. I'm really looking forward to not only improving in BMX, but obviously improving in drifting and all that other stuff that I'm doing as well. So every little thing, it just, I don't know. I love doing stuff where I am pushing myself to my limits, doing something that I'm not used to, or going further and beyond, and then a sense of accomplishment, I guess, is just really something that feels awesome. So I'm ranting. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button, write us a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Go check out the merch store. We are shipping orders, so go get yourself some merch. It just depends where you are. Everything is on the website, information and stuff. If you are lucky to be in a country where airmail is working, then by all means go for it. If you're in the USA, if you don't mind waiting up to 2 months, worst case scenario, you can grab yourself a shirt. But if you just want stickers and stuff like that, those can be sent via airmail. So this whole COVID thing's really messed up the international shipping stuff here in Japan with JP Post, but it is all slowly getting fixed, and we are still shipping. It's just long ETAs with, you know, delays with all the shipping services. So thank you for understanding, everyone. I appreciate you. Go get yourself some merch, and I'll see you all in tomorrow's video. Peace out. Jamata.